Your room might look smaller than it really is, not because of square footage, but because of simple design mistakes that shrink your space without you even realizing it. And trust me, I know the pain. I've lived in and designed plenty of tiny apartments where every choice counted. So today, I'm breaking down the top mistakes to avoid and the simple swaps that make any room feel instantly bigger. If your room feels a little cramped, but you can't figure out why, the problem might not be your floor space, it is how you're using your walls. Most people decorate only at eye level and below, filling the room with short and wide furniture and leaving the top half of the walls completely empty. It is not intentional, but it visually compresses the space and makes the ceilings feel lower than they really are. The fix is to use the full height of your walls. So let's say you need some storage. Instead of a bulky credenza or sideboard, opt for a tall shelving unit or cabinet that reaches higher up the wall. And don't stop at furniture. You can decorate vertically too. Hang a mirror or artwork above a console or sideboard, layer it with a tall table lamp or vase, or add wall sconces or a pendant instead of cluttering surfaces with bulky lamps. These shifts pull the eye upward and stretch the room visually. Lighting is another easy win. Tall floor lamps, pendants, or sconces mounted on the wall help brighten dark corners and keep your eye moving around the space. And if you've got a sad, empty corner, a tall plant will do wonders for lifting the room. Finally, windows are your biggest cheat code. They're the main source of natural light, but heavy curtains or rods mounted just above the frame will weigh everything down. They block light, shorten the wall visually, and box in the room. Instead, go high and wide. Mount the rod close to the ceiling and extend it past the window so the curtains frame the glass rather than covering it. And if curtains aren't your thing, roller blinds are great for small spaces as they let you control light without adding bulk. I have a whole video on beginner's guide to choosing window treatments if you want to explore the various options available. Now once the height and light is sorted, the next silent space shrinker is color, especially when there's too many competing shades in one small room. Most people think the biggest mistake in a small space is going with a dark color scheme. But the truth is, dark colors aren't necessarily bad. In fact, they can create that lovely cocooning effect and a cozy warm vibe that so many people want. The real mistake is having too many colors fighting for attention. That is what chops up your room visually and makes it feel a bit chaotic. Especially if your walls, trims, doors, and ceilings are all painted in different shades. Your eye stops at every edge and the whole space feels jarring. The same thing happens with flooring. If every room has a different material, floorboards in one, random tiles in another, carpet in the next, it can feel choppy and disconnected. It can work well in a really big home, but is counterproductive in smaller homes. The fix is simple. You want to create a seamless, cohesive look. The easiest way to do this is to paint everything in the same colors. Walls, woodwork, skirtings, everything. When all the edges blur together, the walls seem to recede and the space feels calmer and more expansive. Similarly with floors, using the same materials throughout makes it flow better. And if that material doesn't have a busy pattern or heavy grain, it feels even cleaner and more continuous. To keep my workflow just as clean and continuous, I've been using PlotNote, a pocket-sized AI note taker who's the sponsor of today's video. It's thin and light enough to live in my wallet, as thin as your typical dollar coin. And it conveniently snaps to the back of my phone using the provided magnetic holder. A quick 2-second press of a button starts recording, so I no longer need to open my phone and hunt for an app, and my phone stays free for photos, text, or quick research. There's also a simple switch between two modes, call for phone calls and note for in-person meetings. The microphone is noticeably clearer than my phone, so it still picks up softer voices even in multi-person meetings, which makes the notes way more usable, especially in person. When I finish a call, the notes are already done. A clean transcript with speaker labels, an AI summary, and even a mind map of the key points. You can also use Ask Plot to search anything across your audio files to surface key points or forgotten moments. If I need custom automation, I can build one directly in the app, and even integrate with other apps out there. It's like having a personal assistant by your side, taking notes of your meetings. The battery lasts up to 30 hours of continuous recording and around 60 days on standby. So I'm not thinking about charging between meetings or events. If you want the same seamless workflow from notes to action, check out PlotNote via the link in the description below. Once you've sorted your colors, the next culprit is furniture, especially when it's bulky, oversized, and swallows half the floor. Another classic mistake I see time and time again is furniture that is simply the wrong scale for the space. Usually, it's oversized sofas or clunky dressers that sit directly on the floor. Not only are these pieces themselves often too big, but they also hide one of your greatest assets, the floor. And the less floor you can see, the smaller your room will feel. There's a design concept called visual weight, which demonstrates this perfectly. See this dresser that sits flat on the ground? Now compare it to this one with legs. Which one feels visually lighter to you? The one with legs feels lighter, right? The same with these two black sofas. One feels significantly lighter than the other due to its legs and slimmer profile. So if you want your space to feel larger, choose low-profile furniture with visible legs. When you can see the floor underneath, it instantly creates a sense of openness. And the more streamlined the design, the more light and air can flow around it, which exaggerates that feeling of space. Mid-century modern pieces are especially good for this, since most of them have tapered legs and clean lines. You can also get creative with wall-mounted furniture. Floating nightstands, for example, free up floor space and make the whole room feel lighter compared to bulky pieces that sit directly on the ground. Of course, when you don't have much square footage to play with, it is not just about picking lighter furniture. It is about making every piece work harder. That is where multifunctionality comes in. When you're in a small home, you've got limited square footage, but you still need all the same pieces of furniture. A sofa, storage, bed, table, it adds up fast. And if you approach it like a big space, buying one piece for every single function, you'll end up with a space that feels cramped. The smarter approach is to make every piece pull double duty. Pretty much, if you can get something multifunctional, consider it. Ottomans with hidden storage, extendable dining tables, bookcases that fold out into desk, modular sofas, all of these give you flexibility without stealing more floor space. Most multifunctional furniture also comes with bonus storage, which is priceless when you're short on space. Because let's be honest, the problem usually isn't that we own too little, it's that we own way too much. If you've watched my videos before, you'll know this mistake always makes the list, because it's the biggest one I see all the time. Most people get excited about colors and furniture, but barely think about lighting until the end. That is why so many homes end up relying only on ceiling lights, whether it's a single bulb or a whole row of downlights, and the result is always the same: flat, harsh, and uninspiring. The problem is ceiling lights only push light downward. That leaves the corners in shadow and creates harsh contrast, which makes the space feel smaller, darker, and a lot less inviting. The fix is to always layer your lighting. Think of it in three parts: ambient, task, accent. Ambient sets the overall mood with a soft glow. Task lighting is functional, like a lamp on your desk or pendants over a dining table. Accent lighting highlights features or adds atmosphere, like a wall sconce or an LED strip under a shelf. When you spread your light sources throughout the room, corner gets softly illuminated. The harsh shadows disappear, and your eye is led around the whole space. That is what makes the room feel open, warm, and inviting instead of flat and dingy. And while lighting can change how you see your space, mirrors can actually double what you see, which makes them one of the best tools for opening up a small room. Another mistake I often see is treating mirrors as nothing more than a place to check your outfit before heading out the door. In reality, they're one of the most powerful tools for making a small room feel bigger, brighter, and more open. Mirrors reflect both light and views, which tricks the eye into thinking there's more depth than there really is. Place one opposite a window, and you don't just bounce more daylight into the room, you also double the view outside, which instantly makes the space feel larger. But it's not just about placement. The shape and scale of your mirror matter too. A tall, slender mirror can draw the eye upward, while a big wide mirror can stretch a room visually. So stop thinking of mirror as purely functional. Use them strategically to reflect light, to extend views, or to exaggerate height and width. Done well, even the smallest, most awkward rooms can feel airy and spacious. But even with mirrors working their magic, nothing will save a space that is drowning in visual clutter. If every inch of your room is cramped with stuff, it is going to feel small. When you're not intentional about decor and storage, it is easy for surfaces to get buried under knickknacks. The easiest way clutter sneaks in is through open storage. Open shelving looks great in photos, but in real life, it quickly turns into a dumping ground for mismatched mugs, random books, and knickknacks. That constant visual noise makes a space feel smaller. Closed storage is a much better option in tight rooms. A cabinet with doors instantly look calmer and hides the mess. And when it comes to decor, less on display almost always feels better. Instead of spreading little objects across every surface, group a few favorites together and put the rest away. And if you're not sure where to start, I've made it easier for you. I put together a free decluttering guide and checklist with over 100 specific items you can clear out, plus practical tips to keep the clutter from creeping back. And while clutter is one of the easiest mistakes to spot, one of the sneakiest space shrinkers hides in plain sight: your doors. Traditional hinge doors swing open into the room, and that arc eats up valuable floor space. In a very small bedroom, the swing of a door might block where you'd ideally put a dresser, a chair, or even just a clear walkway. If you own your own home and can make changes, consider space-saving options. Pocket doors are a great choice as they slide right into the wall cavity. When they're open, you gain back the whole corner of the room. If a pocket door isn't an option, folding doors can work beautifully. They open wide without swinging fully into the room, which means you can reclaim the area behind them for furniture or storage. And then there are the clever details. A jib or hidden door can disguise messy storage, while a glazed or glass paneled door lets natural light pass through, making adjoining rooms feel brighter and more connected. Even painting a door the same color as your walls reduces visual clutter and helps the whole space feel calmer and bigger. Take a look around most rooms and you'll notice a theme. Everything is boxy. Rectangular dining tables, square coffee tables, boxy sideboards. Bringing in curves break up those angles and helps the room flow better. A round dining table is perfect for small spaces because it's easier to walk around. Even a rectangular table with curved edges makes a big difference. Similarly, curved lamps, mirrors, or accessories add movement without eating up extra floor space. These rounded shapes make the room feel more inviting and relaxed. When every piece has sharp corners, the vibe can feel stiff and boxy. Add in a few curves, and suddenly the whole space feels lighter and easier to live in. But sometimes it is hard to picture how a new piece will actually look in your space. That is exactly why I built Room Visualizer AI. You upload a photo of your room and instantly see a completely new look, styled to your taste. It is like getting a designer's perspective for your own space. It is in beta right now and invite only, but you can join the waitlist via the link below. And once you've nailed furniture shapes, the last mistake to avoid is stopping here, because all of these details only work if the entire room feels cohesive. Now, you can avoid every mistake on this list, but if your room doesn't feel cohesive, it still won't look right. Cohesion is what makes a space feel put together instead of random. Without it, the room will feel busy and disconnected. The fix is to create a common thread. That might be repeating a color across different elements, carrying the same wood tone through a few pieces, or using one metal finish consistently. These small links give the room flow, so your eye moves smoothly around the space instead of getting stuck on every little change. Cohesion doesn't mean everything has to match. In fact, too much matching makes the room look flat. It is about balance, enough similarity to feel intentional, and enough variety to keep it interesting. When you get that right, the room feels calm, spacious, and complete. And that is really the secret to small space design. It is not about square footage. It is about making every choice intentional. If you enjoyed this video, check out this video on 8 trendy design that makes your home look cheap, or 21 living room design mistakes you might be making. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.